Hey there UKDCers, today I have the full review of this, the SOG Terminus, or Studies and Observations Group. This was provided to me by SOG for review with no stipulation on having to be nice or anything like that. They were just, here's a knife, feel free to review it please. It comes in this little box here, which is absolutely fine. Does the job, not too fancy, but it's not just a packing box with a sticker thrown on it, so it's presentable enough. Do you get a lifetime warranty on this? I'll throw that up on screen now so you can have an actual look at what that is. As for price-wise, of course I haven't paid anything for this, but if you were going to buy one, this model with the sort of tan, dark earth handle and the satin finish on the blade is on Heine Haynes for $65.95, and if you want to go for the hard case black, which is black handles, all totally blacked out, this would be $78.95. Or you can hop on over to Knives and Tools where they're currently on sale for £36 each, £3.90 delivery to the UK. I've just bought the black one just because at that price. If you've been wanting one, that's a great place to get it from. They're cheaper there usually anyway, but right now that's a really good price. You will have to wait a little bit though because of international shipping, so there is that. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that one up there. I think this one is actually my preference. Now, in the pocket, I think the black one would be better because the pocket clip on the black one is black, so it goes better with trousers and that. But when you pull it out, the black one does definitely look more dangerous, so I think I'm happier with this one. I really like the look of the blade on this as well. I think it looks really nice in satin. So anyway, that aside, those are the two ones that are available. So action on this. Now, I have been using that with a little thumb stud here you can get for about £8. I'll throw that up on screen now for you so you can see. They're available on Heine as well. But you can see the action on this is so good, and this is one of my favourite things about this knife. I'm someone, I always love a hard to close knife, of course. Nearly everyone does. There's no reason for a knife to be easy to close, but I don't like that at the expense of being able to open it easily. What they've done with this Terminus, and you can go and have a look at my first impressions if you want to see it all apart and how it works and everything. They've made this, they've cammed the back of this blade so that it's completely openable with one hand, just like that. But to close it takes a significant amount of force. I'll throw up the spring strength scale chart now for you, and you can see where this lands on that, and this is really high. Really high on that chart. I think it's beaten only by maybe the Xinglani, but this is right up there, and it's completely doable. That thumb stud is absolutely great. However, I'll be leaving the thumb stud off because you don't get one free with it, so I'll be reviewing the knife as you get it. So you are supposed to be opening it with this nail in it. And again, you can see it's completely fine, very nice and easy. I wouldn't say this has a fantastic walk and talk or anything like that. It really doesn't. It's not like a traditional or anything like that. It's just a, it's a modern folding knife. But the action suffices. There's no super nice click or anything, but it does the job. It opens, it closes. Anything more than that is just an added bonus. Washers on this are sadly Teflon, I believe. They do the job. I think that's, again, Teflon washers don't need oil, and you don't want to oil. You don't want to need to oil this knife. You do not want. Trust me, if you own one of these, you don't want to take it apart. You just don't. It's such a pain to reassemble. They are so difficult to hold down in place. Like, it took me an hour, I think, to put this thing back together. So I think I'd let the Teflon washers slide here just because oiling them is such a pain, although then to that end it should be easier to disassemble. These pins should be held in place on one side of this or something like that. So I guess there's that. I just don't like Teflon usually because you can damage them too easily. That said, they've been fine on this, although I haven't had it nearly long enough to do any real damage to washers, I don't think. But anyway, so you got these G10 scales here, which are very nice, if a little bit flashy with the logo. I mean, I'm fine with it. They feel really nice. You do have to get used to the grip position, I feel. When I first got this, I really felt like I want to carry it like this, and your hand just, this bit's weird. You do end up carrying it like this, and that seems weird because then the bit that protects your finger just goes straight past your finger. So you do sort of end up, it's like a mix between there, and you get used to it. It's not the end of the world. You don't really notice it when you're using it, although I haven't. If you were going to really super hard use this, I imagine that would be annoying, but for EDC it's fine. It's just odd, I would say. But yeah, the grip seems fine. So those scales, whatever that pattern is, it works. It's fine. It just does the job. The pocket clip on this is a lovely deep carry pocket clip, if not a little ostentatious. It does have their logo emblazoned on it. However, I don't think there are enough people that would know what SOG make to question it. It's certainly, I would prefer it to just be a standard one. I mean, I do like the look of this, but just for, practical carry, that is, if I saw that in someone's pocket and I didn't know what that was, I'd be like, what's that, man? That looks weird. Like, what could you possibly have on the other end of that? And obviously it's a knife, so the plain, really boring pocket clips, like this one, nothing special, very boring, but that's good because you don't want people to be interested in what's in your pocket. If you're not a pansy though, if you're fine with just whatever, then as long as you like the look of it, absolutely fine. And I can tell you it's quality made. It's nice thick bit of steel there, but it does have elasticity at least, and this slides in and out of your pocket, jeans, whatever, very nicely. The ramp up there is good, and I don't find that it creates a hot spot there or anything, although to be honest, not many do. But yeah, it's fine. No lanyard hole, though. As Slick Slicers did with his, you can sort of loop one round here if you really want it. And this is entirely ambidextrous, this knife. You've got to give credit to them there. It's nail nick both sides, and this is absolutely reversible. You can pull this out, and there's another slot in that side, and you can push it to the other side on there just by removing that screw there, it was a bit weird on Eric's, but on mine it seems to be fine. I'm not sure if that was just, if they've stopped gluing them in or anything, but it's literally just that. And if you want it on the other side, you just put it in that way and screw it in from that end. It's truly that simple. Very nice design. There we go. You do have some very aggressive jimping up top here, which absolutely does stop you if you're looking to not slip on it. Bit over the top, but it certainly doesn't hurt. If you're looking for jimping, or if you do really want to push something hard with this, you do have a finger stop here, so you can really make use of that jimping. I mean, if you do manage to break through, it's just going to pinch your finger there, so no worries. You can really do. I mean, I've never whittled at work with a knife. I've never needed an EDC knife for whittling or anything like that, but if you do, you certainly could do it with this. Fit and finish on this, it's good, but it does leave a little to be desired. You can see that just like parts of this, you can see that scales over the liner there. I guess it is on both sides, but you can see it sort of drops down here. And then on this side, you can see the liners now over the scale. It's just a bit odd. It's really nothing crazy. It's such a minor complaint, but it is something that did have me wondering, because this side's a lot smoother than this side. You can see there's a shadow there, whereas on this side it's just basically in line. Other than that, there is no blade play whatsoever. Centering looks pretty spot on to me. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's certainly not like ultra premium finish, but if you're just looking for a work knife to do whatever, and you're not that worried about small things like that being perfectly aligned, then that's fine. If you're looking at this as a collector's piece, maybe that'll irritate you. It's certainly something I noticed, but you really can't feel it or anything. It's just something worth remembering there. Blade material, as I said, is CTS BD1, and like I said, I still have no idea how that's going to perform. Literally, we'll find out in just a moment for you. Let's find a piece of paper. So, seems alright. I mean, seriously. Oh, that wasn't so good though. Yeah, it's definitely got some blunt spots in it. Yes, definitely has. Definitely has. So it's not blunt. It's just not, super sharp. I mean, if I get something that never gets used because it's a locking knife, you can see that's just a lot. That's just effortless. Sorry, and this one, it's not going through quite the same. You see it get caught on the middle there, whereas, but that's to be expected. It is a lower end steel, and this has performed better than I thought it would. I really didn't think it was gonna. I've heard a lot of stuff about BD1. BD1N is supposed to be a lot better than BD1, and all I see online about BD1 is that it's really lackluster. Honestly, I'm fine with it. It's sort of like, say, maybe a little bit better than HCR13. Don't get me wrong, it's not blown me away or anything. It's no M390, but with that said, it's certainly usable. I mean, for EDC, I don't have a problem with it at all. I think you get into this thought complex that you're going to have to sharpen it every single day, and that really doesn't seem to be the case with this. You'd be good with a strop like maybe once a week, depending on how often you use it. You could even probably stretch that to once a month. I mean, I certainly haven't stropped this at all since I've got it, and like I said, I don't use my knives a lot at work, but this certainly has been one of the more used ones. So there's that to consider, and you can still see it's got the factory grind there, which is actually another thing that's a bit odd. You can see it's a bit crazy, that factory grind. I think you can see the blunt bit right there in the middle. Right there, see that shiny spot? There we go. Yeah, I'll have to give this a strop and see if that comes back. Billboarding, this is going to turn a lot of people off. I know. I mean, it turned me off for a long time. This has been on my list for a long time, and then Eric sent me his, and I was able to have a look at it. I was very impressed with the internals of this. Really, really quite impressed by the cam mechanism and how easy it is to open versus how difficult it is to close. It feels very rugged. And then you've got SOG written all over it. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. This is just fine. This, I like the design. I just, again, like I said, I don't ever feel like this is going to break on me, and it does feel quality. I just feel, being in the UK, my preference is always, sadly, boring. I want it to be boring. I want people to look at that and go, oh, that's just a pen, or I don't care what that is. This is exciting. This is, what's that? What could possibly be on the end of that clip? And that's not really a good thing. It's too enticing. Obviously, on the blade there as well, you have Terminus. You have their little Mac logo there, and CTS BD1, and that's it. So I know a lot of people are just going to hate that much billboarding, and it really is billboarding at the point there. But like I said, if you can get over it, the knife is lovely. I don't mind this so much. It's just sort of, I think this is the worst one. I just wish this was unmarked. I wish this was a flat piece and maybe a little bit thinner to look like a pen. That's my biggest issue with the billboarding there. This, who cares? And this, you know, that's standard practice. I mean, everyone does it. So, you do get yourself a sharpening choil as well as a finger guard instead of a finger choil, which is nice. Let's do a little size comparison here. So there's that. And you can see it's quite close to a Benchmade 940. Quite a bit smaller than a Buck 110, but the Buck 110 is quite a big boy. And then for the UK, the blade length is almost identical to a Victorinox. The handle's a little bit bigger. And the UK PK, almost exactly the same size. It's just a bit wider in your pocket, I suppose. So I haven't had any problems with this knife. Nothing's come loose. I haven't had any issues with the operation. It's never been hard to open, although it has been hard to close. But that's generally a good thing. You want it to be hard to close. In fact, the person I lent this to, shout out to you, Harry, couldn't close it and just brought it back to me, and I showed him how to safely close it, and then went, yeah, that's actually quite difficult. So it definitely is a strong spring on this one. I'd say the biggest problem this has is that it's a bit ostentatious. It's very, I mean, I like the way it looks. I really like that blade shape. It's very operator, this knife. If you're looking at, you know, the closest sort of American style you can buy over here, this would probably be between this and the Hinderer. But that comes at the cost of having an American looking knife, which is, you know, very, very cool and very nice, but a lot of people will take issue with these kinds versus something very tame, like a Victorinox. The other big problem with this is its value compared to its competitors. This is $65.95, which isn't terrible. You know, it's not the end of the world. It's still well under £100, but this has a big problem in its side, and that would be one of these. That's not representative of the action. I've modified this one, so don't worry about that. This is the Manly Wasp, and it's a very similar size. It is far superior steel. It's still G10 handle. It has a more boring looking pocket clip, although it says Manly, but I think they've got rid of that Manly now and just put that little logo on there. This is 50 or 55 now, I think, for the S90V version, or you can get it in, I think it's 14C28N for £40, £45 or something like that. It's hard to justify this when this is on the market. Granted, they're completely different. I hate the action of this stock. It's a 4-point. It's like click, 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 click. It's very difficult to open, very difficult to close. You have to use two hands. You're never using a thumb stud on this. I mean, I can use it on this one, but that's only because I've modified the action so much. But if you're happy to just use a two-handed, difficult to open knife, you can get much better steel on this. However, if you want the operator look, or you just want one that you can open one-handed, this also has a deep carry pocket clip, even though, no, they both do. This has deep carry pocket clip as well, so actually don't worry about that. But it does at least have a deep carry pocket clip. But I'd say this thing's biggest strength is the internals. I do like I said, I really like the blade shape on this. I think the blade shape is beautiful. But where this really shines is just being able to do that and still have a knife that's really solid and you know isn't going anywhere, as well as this wonderful design bit here. On these, you do have this little bit here, which will do you. So it's not like that's the end of the world either, but it's just I do wish it was just £10 cheaper. Is my only comment to how to improve on this. Maybe change this pocket clip as well. Other than that though, this is one of those you can buy and you could really depend on. If they made this in M390 as well, I feel like they could charge a lot more for this and it would still be a compelling option, because the action on this it's on point. The spring action on this is so good. There aren't many that are that hard to close. There aren't many that are that hard to close, that easy to open, and feel that secure in hand. I'm used to things like the Benchmade proper, which is very easy to close on your hands. Things like this, which has a nice enough spring, but there's nothing stopping that from closing on me. I mean, there you go, and that's just the blade straight into my finger. And you can see that's a strong enough spring to slam that home. So it is nice to have this little guard here. So this is a few days later. I lost some footage, unfortunately. I think my phone ran out of memory, so I had to delete some stuff and now record this last bit again. Luckily, that gives me a little bit more hindsight, so I can add a few things. I did have to properly resharpen this. A strop wasn't enough. I had to give it a completely new edge, as you can see. Thankfully, that really wasn't difficult with this steel. It took a new edge really rather well. You can see it's just gliding through that, and that's much thinner paper than was before. The other thing is, of course, what I'd like to see changed about this. I've no hope that it's going to happen, but either I would like a better steel, something like just plain old S30V would be fantastic, but going up as crazy as 20CV or S45 VN or something like that would be really nice. But failing that, maybe a price drop, 50, 45 would be my ideal price point for this knife. I know it's a hard market and all, but it is a Chinese made knife, so you know. That said, right now you can get it for £36, 39 pounds with shipping to the UK, but that's a hell of a good deal in my opinion. So if you did ever want this, now is the time to jump on it at Knives and Tools. I'll put the link in the description and you can click that. I don't know if they're on sale because of Brexit. A lot of the UK legal carry ones seem to be on sale right now, so good time to have a look at their site, I think. Other than that, the only other thing I'd change would be this here. As I mentioned, I just like it a bit more plain Jane, a bit more boring, a bit less interesting. Maybe a bit easier to disassemble. But other than that, this has been a most welcome addition to my EDC. It's been very nice to have this. I really haven't felt like I've needed to change this out. This is, and has been for some time, my current UK legal favourite EDC. I had to shave this down a bit to make it, in my opinion, UK legal, but this is usually what everything's fighting for in pocket time, and this did make it back into the rotation a few times, of course, because I do really like it, but this has stayed in there surprisingly well. It hasn't given me any trouble. It's one hand opening, as long as you buy the quick thumb stud thing separately, of course, which I really like. I love being able to just pull this out. It's easy enough to deploy. Pulling it out by this clip's a little bit finicky. I did have to, what I took to doing was just pushing it up there from like the outside of my pocket and then pulling it the rest of the way out like that, but it's not a difficult thing to do. It works fine every time. So yeah, and this has just gone through every job I've thrown at it. Like I said, it did get blunt enough to need a proper sharp, and a strop wasn't good enough, but if I'd had stropped it every day, or at least once a week, it probably would have been fine. Who knows, it probably just hit something it shouldn't have. Like I said, I did lend this out, so yeah, who knows what happens when you lend knives out. But yeah, I've even managed to sort out the sort of weird grind that they had going on there. It's all like uniform now. So yeah, as an actual EDC, I think this thing's fantastic. It's, like I said, I just wish it was a little cheaper or had a better steel, is my main thing on this. If you like the way it looks, I would, like I said, now's the time to get it. If you're watching this a lot later, when the sale's not on, as close to 50 quid in my estimation is about where this is ideal. So, I mean, Knives and Tools sell it for 54 normally, but with shipping that translates to 59, and depending on what happens with Brexit, you might have to pay tax on that as well. So, sorry, future viewers, if that's the case when you're watching this. But right now, great time to get it. I'll throw a post up on Instagram as well to let as many people know. But yeah, thank you very much for sending this to me, SOG, and yeah, it looks like a winner. Some things to improve, but I've really enjoyed carrying this one, so cheers.